What up, y'all? This is your boy, Mr. Downtown Ray Melo, and you're listening to the Entertainment Report on iHeartRadio for Thursday, July 30th, 2015, delivering some major stories and trends going on in the world of entertainment and beyond. You can follow the show on Facebook or on Twitter, facebook.com/The Entertainment Report with Ray Melo, that's RAYMELO, or on Twitter at The Enter Report. You can listen to the show anytime you want on iHeartRadio. Just go to iHeart.com, search for The Entertainment Report, and it'll take you to the page. Donald Trump opened a dominating lead in the Republican presidential polls on Thursday, sitting 7 points above the rest of the field. The Quinnipiac poll shows the real estate mogul at 20%, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker at 13%, and former Florida Governor Jeb Bush at 10%. Trump's numbers was the highest one in 7 polls the university has distributed so far this campaign season. 4 candidates led for 4th place with 6%, Dr. Ben Carson, former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, and Florida Senator Marco Rubio. A day earlier, Trump continued bashing the media. He wrote in his Facebook page on Wednesday, "I truly love all the millions of people who are sticking with me despite so many media lies. There is a great silent majority looming." He also rebuffed the polarizing Koch brothers, who long have been a media lightning rod for their large donations to the Republican presidential candidates. Trump tweeted, "I really like the Coen brothers, members of my PB club, but I don't want their money or anything else from them. Cannot influence Trump." In a related story, Donald Trump hurled more insults at the female lawyer who he called disgusting several years ago for requesting a break to pump breast milk in the middle of a deposition, calling her a vicious, horrible person. In an interview with CNN's Dana Bash on Wednesday, the GOP presidential frontrunner insisted that the attorney Elizabeth Beck is simply retaliating against him because she lost the case. Trump said, "She wanted to breast pump in front of me, and I may have said that that's disgusting. I might have said something else. I thought it was terrible. She's a vicious, horrible person." Earlier on Wednesday, Beck told CNN's New Day that Trump had an absolute meltdown during their 2011 encounter. Beck said he got up, his face got red, he shook his finger at me, and he screamed, you're disgusting," and he ran out of there. Trump repudiated her account of the story. He said she made it up. She's saying, "Oh, he was so violent and he was so wild and she was afraid. She was afraid of nobody. She's a tough killer in Miami. Everyone knows she's a killer. They all hate her." Bash then asked Trump how the incident reflects on him as president and how he would react if challenged by a world leader like Russian President Vladimir Putin. Trump says, "Believe me, I do very well with him. I get along with people." The business mogul and former reality TV star also fleshed out his views on immigration, saying he would deport all undocumented immigrants and then allow the good ones to enter the country through an expedite process and live in the U.S. legally through not as citizens. Asked whether he would deport undocumented immigrants who came to the U.S. as children, Trump said he was unsure. He said it's a tough situation. It depends. Fox host Bill O'Reilly teed off on the growing Black Lives Matter movement on Wednesday and accused the group of trying to intimidate reporters with, quote, Gestapo tactics. The Fox News primetime host said to guest Jermeo Green, "Their message means nothing if they do these Gestapo tactics. They lose all credibility." O'Reilly was peeved by an event where organizers of the group told a white reporter to move to the back. Green said she understands the group's anger as the media and politicians don't focus an equal amount of attention on black people who are murdered compared to white people. He then asked her to name a reporter in America who has done the most to shed light on young black men being murdered in America. Green couldn't provide an answer, but O'Reilly sure could. "That would be me," he said. One of the group's founders hit back at O'Reilly on Thursday for his criticism of the group. Patrice Allures said she was mortified by the Fox News host and his statements fueled anti-black racism. In a related story, O'Reilly voiced his belief that Caitlyn Jenner should still be referred to by male pronouns because the reality star has yet to undergo gender reassignment surgery, regardless of how Jenner chooses to identify herself. During Tuesday's The O'Reilly Factor, the talk show host discusses confusion over misgendering when an individual is considered to be of a certain gender, regardless of what he or she actually identifies as. He brought up the topic after NBC contributor Danielle Moodle-Mills whom O'Reilly referred to as a loon, said a news outlet should be fined for not correctly identifying transgender people. O'Reilly's guest, Bernard McGreerick, used Jenner in his explanation for O'Reilly, stating, "Well, if you call Caitlyn Jenner he, then you get a $50,000 fine." O'Reilly said, "Pardon me for this, but from the waist down, he is a he, according to she." McClurrick responded, that's true at this point. That could change, I guess. I cringe at the idea." Though Jenner has not revealed any plans to undergo gender reassignment surgery, she's living her life as a woman and chooses to be referred to by female pronouns. Jon Stewart proved that fiction is more interesting than fact on Wednesday night, dishing about his secret meetings at the White House with President Obama. Stewart said, referring to multiple media reports following the Politico story, that Stewart had visited the White House for clandestine meetings with the president. Ooh, that sounds so much more awesome than what happened. He continued by adding, "Basically, the President of the United States called my office and asked twice if I could come meet with him, and I did." In fact, Stewart claimed that the private meetings were very similar to Obama's official appearance on the Comedy Central show last week, but with salmon. He said, "It wasn't really that big of a deal. I was brought through the secret tunnel at Mount Rushmore. It was a round table meeting with the President and Elvis, still alive, and the Area 51 alien." He continued, "But if you guys insist, it was a secret. So it's not a secret, especially as he told his mom and she told her friends. Something is not a secret just because you don't know about it," he said. Stewart went on to blame the fuss over the rendezvous of the media having a serious case of FOMO. He added, "Let me tell you what happened. The president asked me to go to Washington, and I went, because if the president tells you and you don't, who the fuck knows what will happen?" On a serious note, Stewart said that the president told him he's making young people too cynical, and satirical hosts denied it. Stewart went on to explain that the meeting with Obama was similar to every other high-profile meeting he's had, including with Billy Joel, with them asking him, "John, why are you such an asshole?" Stewart's final episode of The Daily Show will air on August 6th. President Obama made his final appearance on Stewart's Comedy Central program earlier this month and joked about issuing a new executive order that Jon Stewart cannot leave the show. Will Dana will be stepping down as managing editor of Rolling Stone magazine earlier next month. He exits from the magazine comes just months after a controversial article about a supposed gang rape at the University of Virginia was retracted. Dana said in a statement Wednesday, according to the New York Times, "After 19 years at Rolling Stones, I've decided that it is time to move on. It has been a great ride, and I love it even more than I imagined I would. I am as excited to see where the magazine goes next as I was in the summer of 1978 when I bought my first issue." Dana's last day will be August 7th, and he is not leaving for another job, nor has a successor has been named. Both Dana and Rolling Stone publisher John Weiner has been harshly criticized since a November 2014 article titled "A Rape on Campus" proved to be bogus. Soon after publication, doubts were raised over the harrowing account of a woman named Jackie who was allegedly assaulted at a fraternity house at UVA. Dana later acknowledged that there was discrepancies in her account and our trust in her was misplaced. Police in Charlottesville, Virginia said that after exhausting all leads, they found no substantive basis to support the article depiction of the assault. In May, Rolling Stones and reporter Sabrina Rubin Burley were both hit with a $7.5 million defamation lawsuit by the University of Virginia's Associate Dean of Students, Nicole Aramo. Aramo said in a statement, "I'm filing this defamation lawsuit to set the record straight and to hold the magazine and the author of the article accountable for their actions in a way they refuse to do themselves." 3 former members of the Theta Kappa Psi fraternity at the University of Virginia filed another lawsuit against the magazine on Wednesday for defamation and infliction of emotional distress, saying the magazine's discredited article has had a, quote, devastating effect on their reputation. Cara Delevingne has broken her silence after a painfully awkward interview with Good Day Sacramento that set the internet ablaze this week, saying that her sense of humor and sarcasm are just beyond some people's understanding. Paper Towns actress Delevingne took to Twitter on Wednesday to set the record straight, explaining, "Some people just don't understand the sarcasm or the British sense of humor. Shortly thereafter, the 22-year-old tweeted, "Thanks for your support," though it was followed by a link to a page bearing the headline, "Sorry, that page doesn't exist." It is unclear whether the incomplete message was an example of British humor or sarcasm that alludes to many mere mortals. However, she then tweeted sarcasm, a message that the Wrap has forwarded to a renowned sarcasm expert for analysis. Then Levaget was defended by some and magnified by many after footage of her Good Day Sacramento interview went viral, revealing a cringy-worthy exchange between the actress and the anchors. During the interview, the Levaget had frosty back and forth with her interrogators from K-Max TV. Asked whether she had read the John Green novel that the movie was based on, the actress, speaking via satellite in New York, shot back, "No, I've never read the book or the script. Actually, I kind of winged it." Quizzed on whether she had anything in common with her Paper Towns character Margaret, she replied, "No, I actually hate her." Eventually, one of the anchors brought the interview to a close, saying, "Well, we'll let you go then. How about that? Why don't you go take a nap, maybe get a Red Bull?" The savaging of the actors continued after the interview, with one anchor opinionating, "You make $5 million for 6 weeks of work. You can't pretend to talk in Good Day Sacramento with some voomp." Since the video lit up the web, the Levaget has encountered her share of detractors, including the women of The View, who took on the interview during Wednesday's episode. Nicole Wallace offered, "When you're a famous movie star and you get to go on a local news show to promote a movie that you want people to spend $18 to go watch, you don't get to act like a bitch." Whoopi Goldberg added, "There's professional and there's unprofessional. We're checking you, babe. We're checking you. That was not the way to handle that, Cara." After months of speculation, Jeremy Clarkson and his former Top Gear cohorts finally have a new motoring show and a new home. Clarkson plus his fellow hosts Richard Hammond and James Maine have been snapped by Amazon for a 3-season deal for its streaming service Prime Video. Amazon and Netflix have been the favorite to take the trio, who are behind one of the world's most successful and the BBC's most lucrative factual TV shows, after it emerged that a clause in their contract with the broadcaster stipulated that they couldn't make another motoring program in the UK for 2 years, thus ruling out previous frontrunner ATV. An ATV spokesperson declined to comment on Thursday's news and the network's interest in the show. The news show, which is as yet unnamed, will be produced by Andy Willman, Top Gear's longtime executive producer, and is due to go into production shortly for airing in 2016, according to Amazon. Clarkson said of the news, "I feel like I've climbed out of a biplane and into a spaceship," offering yet another dig at his former employer. On Thursday morning, Clarkson tweeted the news. "I'm very excited to announce that Hammond, May, and I have signed a deal with at Amazon Video." He followed this up a few minutes later in his usual manner, at Amazon Video UK now saying, "I can't be their chief drone pilot. Apparently they want us to make a car show." Clarkson was famously fired by the BBC earlier this year after punching a producer, with Hammond and May announcing that they wouldn't return without him shortly afterwards. The broadcaster later revealed that its hit motoring show will be revamped with British TV and radio personality Chris Evans at the helm. Jay Marney, Vice President of Amazon Prime Video EU, said, "Customers told us they want to see the team back on screen, and we are excited to make that happen. We can't wait to see what Jeremy, Richard, and James and the team will create in what is sure to be one of the most globally anticipated shows of 2016. Said co-host Melo on the new deal, "We have become part of the new age of smart TV. Ironic, isn't it?" Clarkson, who was with the BBC for 27 years, had a fractious relationship with his former employer, regularly generating headlines for his outspoken comments and remarks deemed racially offensive. Last year, he avoided disciplinary action over alleged use of the N-word in the video, while in October, the entire Top Gear team were forced to flee from a shoot in Argentina after Clarkson upset locals with the license plate platform that referred to the country's war with the UK in the 1980s. Many will be curious to see how Amazon handles any potential fallout from its new star. Fuller House has just begun work on its first episode, but executive producers have already made one major change to the original conceit. DJ Tanner is no longer a pregnant widow. star Candace Cameron Bure told The Hollywood Reporter at a Television Critics Association press tour event Wednesday, she's actually not pregnant anymore. The baby's been born. We didn't start it off quite so heavy, so some more time has passed than they originally intended. In the original description for the upcoming sequel series, which will premiere on Netflix in 2016, DJ was supposed to be a newly widowed mother of two with a third bun in the oven, very similar to the premise of the original series, in which her father, Danny, played by Bob Saget, was left widowed with 3 young children after his wife was killed by a drunk driver. She said, it's tragedy that starts off the show, which was like the original Full House, but the themes are always heartfelt. It's always a situation you can always learn something from. Tonally, it will feel the same as the original Full House, which is heartfelt and funny and family-friendly, but it's today's time. Once the show's loyal fan base learned of DJ would be a widow in the new incarnation, speculations immediately turned to the status of her high school boyfriend, Steve, played by Scott Weiner. Rest assured, Steve is not dead, said Cameron Bure. Reiner himself tweeted a photo from the set of the new series. However, Cameron Bure said the subject of her character's late husband will also be broached on Fuller House. She said, you'll learn little bits about him through the show, just like you did on the original series. Whether they have flashback scenes or anything like that, I have no idea, but we'll talk about him because you have to. When that happens and you have children, it's something you have to discuss those emotions and the healing from it and how to move on. Despite some of the sad events in DJ's life, Cameron Bure is eager to dive into the character once more. It's just fun to see her as a mom and just to see what mom she's become and what kind of woman. It's fun to be able to develop her even more, particularly because I get to do that with the writers and sit down and talk with them and hear their thoughts and they hear my thoughts. Luckily, there are still some happy moments from the original characters. Lori Loughlin, who was at Wednesday's event, revealed that Rebecca is still a news anchor and still married to Jesse, played by John Stamos. She said, I've always thought that they were still still a couple that were happily married and still in love, and they are. Knowing that Jeff Franklin was writing it and he was the original creator of the show, I don't think any of us had too many concerns about the characters being taken care and serviced in the right way. For Cameron Bure, it also helps that she is a mother of 3 in real life. She says, really, since the shoe was in the conceptual stages, we started talking about the character, and just like with the original show, the writers would always want to know what was going on in our personal lives and what would translate and could translate that would be relatable to the scripts on the show. They're asking me what kind of mom am I with my 3 kids, so we're going to use a lot of my personal experiences, but we'll make them DJs in the way that she is a mom. Although Cameron Bure is a series regular on the new series, it remains to be seen how much some of the other original stars will appear beyond the first episode. Loughlin said, they're talking about having me maybe coming back here and there. We just need to figure out the dates, because I know we all like to pop in and do Fuller House if we could. Fuller House premieres on Netflix in 2016. MTV Scream will kill again. Ahead of its time at the Television Critics Association Summer Press Tour, the Viacom-owned cable network announced that the series based on the feature film franchise of the same name will be back for a second season. The series, which has already only 5 of its 10 episodes, launched June 30th to 1.03 million total viewers. Factoring 3 days of delay in viewing and streaming of the pilot, that number grew to 6 million according to the network. The premiere of the series, produced by the Weinstein Company, ranked as the #1 cable telecast in its time period among viewers 12 to 34 and 18 and 34. Streams, which stars Bex Taylor Claus, John Carner, Willa Fitzgerald, Tracy Middendorf, and Jason Wells, focuses on the search for a murderer who killed the town's popular girl, Nina, played by Bella Thorne, and explores whether the previous generation's killer, Brandon James, has returned. While the killer will be revealed in the season finale, producers say they hope to follow a more traditional format, though they have discussed doing an anthology more along the lines of American Horror Story. Producer Jamie Paglia said at Comic-Con, you want to follow these characters after they go through their first experiences. Executive producer Jill E. Bolton-Vogel noted that they would like to keep as much of the core cast on board as they can, real life, going forward. As far as the end of the season, Paglia said there will be satisfying answers for Season 1 and bigger questions and mysteries that will be explored in Season 2, as he hopes his show avoids making mistakes like The Killing did in its first season. The decision to renew Scream comes as MTV is undergoing an executive shift after President of Programming Suzanne Daniels departed for a gig at YouTube. Scream joins a roster of original dramas that also include the recently renewed Teen Wolf and Finding Carter with Sharana due in October. The network currently does not have any drama pilots in the works. CBS's Supergirl has cast a big DC Comics villain. The highly anticipated freshman drama has tapped Son of Anarchy's alum Chris Browning to portray Ben Krull, otherwise known as Reactoron, The Hollywood Reporter has learned. On the Melissa Benoist star, Ben Krull, a.k.a. Reactoron, is a deadly adversary of Superman's from Metropolis who wears an armed suit powered by nuclear energy. Never able to defeat his rival, Krull has come to National City to get a revenge on the Man of Steel by killing his cousin Supergirl. The character will first appear in Episode 3 and is said as a guest star with a strong potential to recur, sources told the Hollywood Reporter. Browning becomes the latest DC character to board the series and joins Nurse Jackie alum Peter Francinelli, who will recur as Maxwell Lord, a green tech billionaire who is fascinated with National City's newest citizen, Supergirl. He also has a friendly rivalry with Kara's boss, Cat Grant, played by Callista Flockhart in comic book lore. Maxwell Lord has wavered between being a good guy and a bad guy. He helped the Justice League to get together, hoping to profit from the use of metahumans. Supergirl from Greg Berlanti, Ali Adler, and Andrew Kresenberg is a big swing for the typically older skewing CBS. The network will launch the drama on Mondays opposite Fox's DC Comics takes Gotham. The series will premiere October 26 at 8:30 p.m. with the Prime Post Big Bang Theory debut before moving to its regular slot at 8 p.m. on November 2nd. Benoist stars Akara, a.k.a. Supergirl, with a cast that includes McCade Brooks, David Harware, and Cheryl Lee. Millions of viewers saw Jimmy Kimmel get emotional over the killing of Cecil the Lion in Zimbabwe, and thousands of them took action as urging. On Tuesday night, the late-night host delivered an uncharacteristically serious account of how the country's most famous lion was killed, which involved an American dentist, Walter Palmer, paying two local guides $50,000 to track and shoot the beloved animal. Cecil's death has since sparked outrage, especially as he was part of a study being conducted by Oxford University and was wearing a GPS tracking collar, which helped authorities determine who the guides were and eventually led to Palmer. After the moving segment on Jimmy Kimmel Live that concluded with the host urging his audience to donate to the research group that was tracking Cecil with the GPS collar, Oxford's Wildlife Conservation Unit reported that more than 2,600 people donated money, totaling more than $150,000, a representative from the ABC show confirmed to the Wrap. After comparing Palmer to Bill Cosby and calling him the most hated man in America who never advertised Jell-O pudding on television, Kimmel told viewers who they can help. He said, "If you want to make this into a positive, you can," before choking up. "Make a donation, support them. At the very least, maybe we can show the world that not all Americans are like this jackhole." Wildlife Conservation Research Unit Director David McDonald thanked the late-night host for his help. Writing on the charity's website Wednesday, Jimmy Kimmel implored his millions of listeners in the USA to make donations to support our work on lions and conservation more widely. "We are so grateful for this and the upwelling of support for our work worldwide." Meanwhile, the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals has since called for the death of Palmer, saying he needs to be extradited, charged, and preferably hanged. The killing of the 13-year-old lion, who was famed for his lush black tangled mane, quickly spread outrage across the world from animal lovers and a flood of Hollywood stars, including Ricky Gervais, Olivia Wilde, Sharon Osbourne, and legendary zoologist Jane Goodall. And now let's look at the top 10 songs on the Billboard Hot 100 singles charts for the week of August 8th. Number 10, Major Lazer featuring DJ Snake featuring Melo with Lean On. Number 9, Walk the Moon with Shut Up and Dance. Number 8, Rachel Platten with Fight Song. Number 7, Fetty Wap featuring Monty with My Way. Number 6, Fetty Wap with Trap Queen. Number 5, Wiz Khalifa featuring Charlie Puth with See You Again. Number 4, Taylor Swift featuring Kendrick Lamar with Bad Blood. Number 3, Silento with Watch Me. Number 2, The Weeknd with Can't Feel My Face. And again, the number 1 song on the Billboard Hot 100 singles charts is Omi with Cheerleader. And now let's look back at what happened on this date in entertainment history. On this date in 1999, the Blair Witch Project, a low-budget independent horror film that will become a massive cult hit, is released in U.S. theaters. Shot with shaky handheld cameras, the documentary-style movie told the story of three student filmmakers who disappeared into the woods and were never heard from again, although their footage was later discovered. With the help of web-based viral marketing strategy, a relatively new concept at the time, the Blair Witch Project generated huge buzz over the question of whether or not it was based on a true story. In fact, the story was entirely fake. Fake or not, it didn't matter at the box office. The Blair Witch Project grossed some $250 million worldwide and was featured on the covers of Newsweek and Time magazine. The Blair Witch Project followed the young filmmakers as they went into the woods near Burkittsville, Maryland, to make a documentary about a local legend known as the Blair Witch. The filmmakers got lost and experienced a series of scary events and unexplained phenomenon, such as strange noises and piles of stone being inexplicably rearranged. The trio never returned to civilization, but their film equipment was supposedly found, and the footage they shot became the Blair Witch Project. Unlike other horror films that feature bloody scenes and special effects, the Blair Witch Project scared moviegoers through its implied terror and violence. Eduardo Sanchez and Daniel Merrick, who met as film students at the University of Central Florida, wrote and directed the Blair Witch Project. The two filmmakers had their lead actor, Heather Donahue, Michael Williams, and Joshua Leonard, improvise their lines based on private messages each actor received during filming. To make the Blair Witch Project seem more realistic and heighten the psychological tensions, Sanchez and Merrick reportedly did things to agitate the actors during production, such as shaking their tents and cutting back their food supply. They also had the actors do their own filming, and the result, grainy black and white footage, became a Blair Witch trademark. And that is your entertainment report for Thursday, July 30th, 2015. I'm your host, Mr. Downtown Ray Melo. I'll be back to wrap the week up tomorrow, delivering some major stories and trends going on in the world of entertainment and beyond. You can follow the show on Facebook or on Twitter, facebook.com/The Entertainment Report with Ray Melo. That's RAYMELO. Or on Twitter at The Enter Report. You can listen to this episode or any previous episodes of The Entertainment Report anytime you want on iHeartRadio or the iHeart app. Just go to iHeart.com, search for The Entertainment Report, and it'll take you to the page. Good night, and God bless you all.